It's Saturday night, 7:15. You can't predict when I'm going to come live. Sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 6:30. It's usually for an hour. Last night it was for 2 hours. And I just know how I don't know actually how to predict what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen. I know what's going to happen here. I know it's going to happen live. And I know I look forward to chatting with each and every one of you. Mrs. Biggins went upstairs to relieve herself. Yes, she would be mortified to know I said that, but she will be back down in a moment, and we'll discuss the movie we just finished watching. It was not horror, but we will discuss it with you. And it was above freezing today, but it feels like the coldest day yet. I don't know why. It was much earlier in the week. It was much cooler, but we're slowly crawling back up towards 40 degrees. So how's your day been so far? Hello, Sarah Ann. Holly and the pets are upstairs at the moment. The dogs have to follow Holly to the bathroom to make sure everything goes according to plans. And again, she would be mortified. And I know she didn't turn on her phone to watch this, even though she probably got an announcement. But she'll be back down in a minute. Hello, Janaea. And we are here with Chatty Cathy, Ugg, Dora, Josh, and that scary little bitch on the riding horse. And above my head, Darth Vader's crotch. Yes. And when I put my head up with the limited amount of hair on top, it looks like Darth Vader's crotch in a marsh. Hello, Lisa Ann. Alugali. Hello, John and Patty. Holly's actually, she'll be down in a minute. She was down here. She let the dogs out, and then she said, I have to go to the bathroom. And I wanted no more details whatsoever about that. I'm here with a nearly full Diet Coke, glass full of Diet Coke, caffeine-free Diet Coke. Oh, let me tell you something. We rewatched Severance, the first season, prior to the start of the second season, and we discovered the final episode we had not watched in season 1. And it was so important to season 2. And season 2 is starting off really good. I see on the camera upstairs, Mrs. Biggins and the dogs headed back. Here comes Mrs. Biggins, everyone. Mrs. Biggins is coming back downstairs. Yes, she is. Here she comes, Mrs. Biggins, back to the studio to chastise me from 10 feet away, because that's what she does. I used to only like Diet Pepsi. Then one day, it was Diet Coke, and I never went back. There she is, everyone. Did Sable come?
She's drinking.
Okay. And here's Archer. Archer, you going to pop up and say hello to the people? Here, let's turn the overlay on. Archer, you coming up? Come on. Let everybody see you. There he is, everyone. This beautiful black prince. Hello. Hello. Holly's mentioned how he's been super affectionate and freewheeling with the kisses. Everybody said hello, Nigel, Holly, and pets, even when you were upstairs dropping a deuce. No, she wasn't. So we just finished watching on Netflix Saturday night. It's not a mockumentary, but it's kind of like from the first episode, leading up to the first episode of Saturday Night Live. And it was good. And, you know, one of the surprise who wasn't even a major character in this, but he had a role, Finn Wolfhard, if you remember, the kid with the nose from Stranger Things. Well, he's filled out. He's grown into his face somewhat. He looked
All he did was grow up.
Yeah, but he looks better. You got to admit.
His nose doesn't look so overwhelmingly huge.
Right. I will tell you that for casting, they really did some of the actual actors from Saturday Night Live. They really treated them well. Dylan O'Brien, if you remember from the Maze, or what was it? Maze Runner. Good looking kid. He was in Teen Wolf and shit. He played Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd wished he looked like that ever in his life.
He was also in the Taylor Swift video with Sarah Snook. Not Sarah Snook. The redhead girl from Stranger Things.
Well.
All Too Well. That's what it was.
There's what Mrs. Biggins is best known for, her important contributions of trivia.
Well, a lot of people don't know him from The Maze Runner. They know him as the Jake Gyllenhaal stand-in in All Too Well.
I don't. What the hell was that?
It's her video that Taylor Swift did. The 10-minute video about her breakup with Jake Gyllenhaal and how badly he treated her poor baby.
Kevin Wilson said this morning it was freezing, but around 2 it warmed up. Congratulations, Kevin Wilson. Holly is still scarred from that one suggestion you made of Asian films, but she is going through the rest of the list, and she has found her new passion, which is what?
It was not on his list, though. It's not a horror show.
Don't be rude to Kevin.
No, I'm not. I'm just being specific. It's called The Glory. It's a revenge story, and it's based on a true story.
It's a revenge story based on a true story. Like the revenge porn somebody, when they videotape May involved with them in a sexual act. And she was actually a one-legged woman.
Oh, my God.
Her name was Eileen. Well, boom.
That's terrible.
And she was actually in a Korean drama, but in that, her name was Irene.
You know what? You're going to get yourself canceled.
Sorry. Everybody thinks it's safe now to take and say politically incorrect shit. Lisa Ann Alugali said there's one on Hulu that sounds good called The Light Shop.
I've heard of it. I have not checked out the trailer or anything. A lot of people have been talking about it.
Well, there you go.
Thank you for the recommendation, though. We'll see how it goes.
She likes Gung Ho.
I love Gung Yu is his name.
Gung Yu.
And who else?
What's his name? Thanos.
Right.
What's his name?
Top.
Top?
That's what he goes by. That was what his name was when he was in Big Bang.
Tom, tell us how the audition went. That's what we want to know. Hello, Russell. Excuse me, I've been drinking Diet Coke. We're all waiting here to hear about Tom's audition. And we went to Acme this morning, and we also went to Walmart. Oh, it went really well.
Good. Congratulations.
And do you remember um, even though I haven't watched Lord of the Rings, there was, they were like not elves, but they were little people. And the one guy with the big beard, we saw that guy today. Not really, but the guy looked just like him. Terrifying. They got out of their car and they walked by and they stared at us, and I was scared.
You should have been scared. He was very terrifying looking.
We were going to watch Nosferatu, but it's so expensive, and we just decided we'll wait a little bit, see if it appears on like
It'll be
HBO or
on
something.
HBO or something very soon. You watch.
It'll be on something very soon. You watch. We will all send positive vibes towards Tom Kelly.
Yes.
And Tom, you remember when you score your big gig, you can thank the inspiration given to you by Nigel at night. Hello, Cherie. Did you work today? And if so, how many babies? That's what we want to know. So, Cherie, what do you do? Are you like in there hands on bringing the baby out?
Does she yank him out of the vag?
Do you stand by the side, clean them up afterwards? What do you do? I mean, I know that you are in there, but I would like to now. I think we need to delve to the next level and find out your involvement. No work today. Well, that was anticlimactic. I'm looking forward to, I was just thinking that 6 months from today, it will almost be August. 5 months from today, it will almost be July.
I don't like the summer. You know that.
10 months from today, we'll be preparing for Thanksgiving. Or Thanksgiving will be over and we'll be in the midst of the Christmas celebrations.
You skipped right over Halloween.
I'm backing up. 9 months from today, Halloween will be less than a week away. Holly did, in fact, say that, Tom. I just went by it because it's filth for this family show.
What?
Do you yank them out of the vag? Hello, Ronnie.
Well, you know what? People want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
I just think the fact that we exist on a rock floating in space, and that how babies are made and grow and come out is just awesome. I am a surgical technician, so if I am not in the OR or doing C-sections, I'm assisting the doctors during vaginal births by setting up the sterile tables, assisting with retracting and suturing, etc.
She gave you specifics.
I feel like I just read a medical book. Look, the Benites, Tom's hi Ronnie, Ronnie's hi Tom. Everybody is so friendly in the Nigel at Night broadcast. Chatty Cathy's back there with her legs spread like a doll slut that she is. in a rocking chair that's older than I am. I also realized that 9 months from today, 9 months from now, I'll be 60 years old. Actually, it's more like 8.5 months. My God, 60. But I do think 2025 better be my year. I worked all day on projects. Conclave was great. Love the ending, and Holly does not owe me a kiss.
See?
From Ronnie.
See?
We told you that was good. That's going to be tough in the, Academy Awards. Was that twist at the end something else? They didn't even really make a big deal about it, but it was boom, there. And I was just saying how we just finished watching Saturday Night on Netflix. It was one of those, Netflix now has a category up there that says coming soon, and you can set yourself a reminder. And it will email you. Well, it emailed me today. And we watched it. And it had a hell of a cast. J.K. Simmons as Milton Berle.
His 11-inch penis.
With his 11-inch male member. I'm trying to clean up my act a little.
Uh-huh. Let me know how that works.
Well, you said vagina.
Well, I did. And I stand by the word vagina. It's a clinical term.
It's biological, too. Ronnie, and what is that class called that studies the body? Anatomy. It's anatomical. Ronnie says, looks like Netflix has some new Korean shows coming.
Oh.
You perked her up. She wants to know if Top or Gung Ho.
Gung Yu.
Gung Yu. Gung Yu.
I told you he's got one on Netflix, but it looks very sad and depressing. It's called The Trunk. I don't want sad and depressing.
Did you guys, any of you that are like my age or older, did they ever show you in like high school we saw this, The Lottery?
Yes.
Why?
I read the book too, the short story.
But I'm trying to think why so many schools show that.
Why did it disturb you?
Well, when I think about it now, back then it was something else. Do you remember the joy when they used to wheel the movie projector into the classroom?
Yes.
It was so, and then like in high school, it became where they would wheel in a TV with a VCR, a video player that was like huge. Now they probably
set up a laptop.
Well, yeah, now they probably have a thumb drive and they plug it into the back of a TV. We also saw some movie in Driver's Ed, which was about car accidents. It showed people mangled and shit.
I never saw that at my school.
Well, I went to a school in the hood.
No.
You could just see that outside. But I remember my best friend growing up lived around the corner, and high school, his parents sent him to Catholic school, and his mother, who I loved his mother, she was a sweetheart, but she said, I can't believe your parents are sending you to that school. And that hurt my feelings. And within our freshman year, her angel son got kicked out for selling weed. And then he came to my high school and got kicked out for selling weed. Have you all watched the Korean movie Old Boy?
Oh my god.
You have?
Yeah, it's not as disturbing as Audition, but it was pretty bad.
What's it about? Hi, Squatch.
Revenge. They have a lot of revenge shows.
The Koreans want a lot of revenge. I wonder if North Korea, what they do for entertainment.
Nothing.
Like, I wonder if they have TVs.
I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, don't say anything racist. The only Korean show I ever watched was MASH. Get it?
Hysterical.
Squatch is in the room. He said, "What up, Slim?" It's basically a backhanded fat joke. How dare you?
You need me to do something for you?
No, Squatch is good people. Revenge is a dish best served cold. That sounds like it should be in a movie. We got a Wendy's
Oh, it's good.
bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. 3 of them. One for Biggins number 2, one for Biggins number 1, and one for the Biggins pups.
Oh.
Wrath of Khan, great film. The best in that series. The remake was pretty good too. Into Darkness. I like where they swapped out all the bodies in the torpedoes and sent the armed torpedoes onto that Dreadnought class ship. Make it so. Engage. Patrick Stewart's old as dirt now. When Star Trek The Next Generation came out in the 80s, he already looked in his 60s. But he couldn't have been because 80 to 90, 90 to 95, 2005, 2015, 2025. That's 40 years ago. Cherie said to Holly, "I have assisted in yanking them out if their shoulders are stuck in there."
Oh, God. Oh, look at that.
What?
Nothing.
All right, I just got a spam email from Amy. Amy, take me to the moon.
Oh.
I'm not a midway kind of girl. Greetings.
Oh,
These girls are not far from you. Helen, Pauline, Beverly, Janice, Grace, Kathleen, and the list goes on. I could have my choice of women tonight if I wanted to. Nothing from nothing means nothing. Patrick Stewart is 85 this year. So that would mean he was like in his late 40s. When did Star Trek, since you're like Googling there,
Who, me?
Squatch,
Oh.
when did Star Trek The Next Generation come out? Hey, Google, when did the series Star Trek The Next Generation premiere?
Star Trek The Next Generation's premiere date is September 28, 1987.
1987. So 97, 2007, 2017. It's like almost 40 years ago. So he would have been in his upper 40s then. My God, he looked 60 then, but he still looks 60 for like the next 20, 30 years. But now he looks old. When he was Professor X, he looked older than dirt. I just got an Instagram from Mrs. Biggins. And Kevin, one of my camera operators, sent me pictures of his dog today. Dog is cute. It's one of the most unique looking pups I've seen. Let's see if this thing will share tonight. That's Kevin's dog. Is that thing like not beautiful or what? Yeah, Bill Shatner's 94. He's a curmudgeon. A friend of mine gave Bill Shatner, a friend of mine who's a limo driver. You might have heard us talk about a Mike who loves Nicolas Cage. He was a limo driver that gave William Shatner was at some comic book convention in Atlantic City, and he gave him a ride to the Philadelphia airport. And he said he was friendly. But on Twitter, I haven't seen him on Twitter. Well, I don't really. Yeah, I do go to Twitter, but he hasn't been on there much. He was something else. So, folks, I do suggest if you're looking for something to watch tonight, you might like Saturday Night. I don't know how much of it was,
The fight between Chevy Chase and Belushi was real because I read a book about Saturday Night Live and that happened.
Yeah, I don't know how much of it was accurate or not, but it still all could have been. Like they decided at the very last second to go live. They were going to postpone it a week. They thought it was supposed to fail. And they had a rerun of Johnny Carson queued up, ready to play because they thought it wasn't going to work, but it all came together. I think I need a theme song and an intro to these nightly broadcasts that I play.
You should sing one.
I'm so glad we've had this time together. I'll sing that at the end. And I'll tug my ear like Harold.
Spam is quite popular.
The meat?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not bad either. Have you ever had it?
I don't think so.
It's ham.
I think my mom used to get it for my dad sometimes because he liked that deviled ham shit too.
Remember that kid Mason Reese? Was that his name?
What?
The red hair kid that used to do the commercial for deviled ham?
No, sorry, I don't.
I'm trying to think if who else was, well, there's Hey Mikey, he likes it. And there was the, it's amazing before social media how stuff used to spread, but there was the story that he ate Pop Rocks and soda or something and exploded.
That would have been a cool way to die.
Oh God. I think the worst way to die has to be, even worse than drowning, is being burned to death.
Buried alive.
Yeah, but that's horrific, but it's not, I don't know how, like burning, I guess the body immediately goes into shock. How did I get on this? I would like to be struck by lightning, then hit by a truck and have it filmed. That's not true at all, by the way, any of that. I don't know why I said it. But these people that have the will to live after stuff too is just are amazing people to me. There was the kid who was engaged, young guy, nice looking kid. And he was in like an industrial accident where he now has nothing from like his stomach down. And his girlfriend married him, and they're just he's just got a positive attitude, but they're better people than me. Speaking of Saturday Night Live, do you remember the horrible movie about John Belushi called Wired?
I read the book by his wife.
Well, Tom Kelly says he's in it briefly. It was one of his first background jobs.
Wow.
Well, I like how you described it as horrible, Tom. And I doubt it was horrible because of your performance. I'm just saying that. I'm putting that out there. When I was a kid, we had an old film camera, and it didn't work. We never filmed anything on it. My parents did years earlier. There's pictures of me and my sister. I don't even know where that is. But I used to like to look through it and take my Star Wars X-Wing fighter and TIE fighter on fish string and with a fishing pole and fly it away from the camera. Cool. Squatch says he was an extra in a Nick Cage movie.
Oh, that's cool.
Which movie, Squatch?
I bet he would be interesting to have a conversation with.
Nick Cage?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he's as weird as the characters he plays.
That would be very, very difficult if he was.
Yeah. Did you say you didn't like the ones where National Treasure?
Well, I only saw the first one. I don't remember much of it.
And that had that Jason Barth in it, who was from the Hangover movies. All right. The Weatherman. I don't remember that one. Hello, my name is Maud. Hi. Hey, my name is Maud. Hi, Maud, 7 miles near you. Click. Not spam. If the photo's not displayed, view profile to view the profile. Click on the button. Good luck. Ronnie says, I worked in the building that some of Passenger 57 was filmed at. I worked evenings and saw little of the production, but it was cool. What was Passenger 57? I don't remember that, Ronnie. One of my favorite Nick Cage films, Raising Arizona. I think that was the first time I ever remember seeing John Goodman. I actually had a good night's sleep last night, and I had a long nap today. Wesley Snipes' Tom Sizemore movie. Also, I remember seeing Harry and the Hendersons about the same time, and that was great. And there was the movie The Prince of Darkness, if you remember that. What a piece of shit that was.
Which one was that?
It was, I can't even describe it. I just know, I think the actor's name was,
Which is bad?
yeah, one of the actors, and I can't remember his name. Blonde hair guy. He was in with, I can't remember the name. They were brother detectives, but not the Hardy Boys. I liked Con Air. I didn't watch Face Off or The Wicker Man.
I saw The Wicker Man.
But he's been in a lot of shit. Wasn't Leaving Las Vegas him?
Yeah, fucking depressing ass movie, my god.
I didn't see it.
You're not missing anything.
Harry and the Hendersons was great.
That was one of the movies I used to play on repeat at the store.
What,
When I worked in Tuckerton.
Harry and the Hendersons?
Yes.
Simon and Simon, you're absolutely right. Now, what was wasn't Parker Stevenson one of them, or it was that older guy? But Simon and Simon, and it was the blonde hair guy from Simon and Simon. I think he had but he was in Prince of Darkness.
Tell us how you really feel about Prince of Darkness.
It was a piece of shit. Tom Kelly said he used to work out with Kevin Peter Hall, who played Harry from Harry and the Hendersons. He was also the Predator. Incredibly nice man. Well, we all know now Tom Kelly works out, or at least used to. So do I. I can tell you that opening a bag of Almond Joy, Jameson Parker. I said Parker Stevenson, didn't I? But that's it, Jameson Parker. Why wouldn't you just go by Jim Parker?
Yeah, you know what? Fuck him.
You hear this one she's getting riled up already. God help those Korean shows tonight. She'll be watching. Squatch says he met Michael Jordan, the basketball player, working out one time. I'm trying. Professional athlete wise, I met Ron Jaworski once, but I was just at a location where he was speaking or something. But I met Tony Franklin, who used to be the barefoot place kicker for the Philadelphia Eagles. My cousin was a Eagles cheerleader. They were called the Liberty Bells. My nephew was one of the producers of America's Most Wanted. And one time he had a role for his uncle Nigel. But I was, it would have required like 2 days, and I got killed, which I was cool with. I was the murder victim, but my mother was alive and I just couldn't get away. It was only 3 hours from here, but oh, I met Ben Stiller's parents. You reminded me of that because you said, Squatch, you said you met Ron Jeremy back in the 90s. Back in probably the early 90s, I was invited or went to a video convention in Showboat in Atlantic City. And I thought it was for like video equipment and stuff. But when you got there, it was for video stores. It was, the height of Blockbuster and Hollywood Video. And there were a lot of independently owned video rental stores. And when you went in there, they had stuff like popcorn machines and displays for the stores to hold videos and stuff, and also some distributors. But in the back were these curtains all the way up, and the place was not that full. But in the back where these curtains were up, you went through and it was all adult films and the stars from them. And it was packed. It's like 90% of the people were in there, 10% were outside. And that is where I met Stella and Maier.
Stella and Mira.
Yeah, them too. And Ben Stiller's parents. And they were not in the adult section, of course. They were out front.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
They could have been.
And my nephew got to meet and sat down for quite a while with Bryan Cranston. My nephew has something to do with the Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And because he used to work on, America's Most Wanted, and John Walsh, who's the host of that, was known for the tragedy that happened where his son was kidnapped, Adam, and they eventually found out that he was dead. But this Center for Missing, I might be fucking this story up, but it's close to the accurate story. Bryan Cranston's wife is one of the board members of that organization. And there was a celebrity poker game in Manhattan, if I have this right. And my nephew and his wife went to it, but he didn't really play poker. But the guy that answered the door was Hank Azaria. And they went in, said their hellos, and then they went downstairs to the bar. Well, Bryan Cranston came down and sat with my nephew and his wife for like a good hour. Bryan Cranston also tells the story, which sounds kind of weird to me. Like, I don't know. He seems like a normal guy, but where he was almost roommates with Charles Manson. Or he picked him up or something, or I don't know. Well, Ron Jeremy is now in prison for, I guess, the rest of his life, and his health isn't great, but he was.
He's another one I thought was dead.
He was accused of sexual assault or sexual harassment on a porn film, which I don't quite know how that happens. And I met Ernie Hudson. I volunteered to help with the Atlantic City Film Festival, which was one of the most fucked up, disorganized things, but he was in an independent film. And I got to meet him, take a picture with him. Cherie's showing off now. My cousin is Darren Dalton, who starred in the original Red Dawn and The Outsiders. He and C. Thomas Howell are best friends, and I've met him several times. I remember Pony Boy. I remember The Outsiders. That was a good film. Red Dawn was a good film. I never watched the newer one with Chris Hemsworth. And I saw President George Herbert Walker Bush twice. Once while he was on the campaign trail when running against Bill Clinton. I was in the National Guard then, and I was over at the base, and Air Force One came in. He was going to some campaign shit, and he got off the plane, and I saw, but I stood like 5 feet from him, maybe 10 feet from him in Puerto Rico. You guys have heard this story where I was there for work, and we go out to the beach, and there's these people in suits standing in a circle, and I'm thinking, did somebody have a heart attack or something? And I walk over, and it was Secret Service surrounding George Bush and 2 other people sitting in beach chairs on the beach. He used to like, this was after his term ended. He used to like to go to Puerto Rico to play golf. And at FrankenCon, I met some people who I didn't really know, but I know him afterwards, that Joe Bob Briggs, he was a rock star, all the people that came there to see him. And there were people that were in various horror films, and there was that Brian Beamer, I want to say is his name, or Bremer, who was in Pumpkinhead and a couple things. He was a very nice guy. And I saw Donald Trump in person once.
Congratulations.
I was in Trump Marina, and he was walking along past the restaurant called Ivana's. Ronnie said their high school sent 2 buses to meet Jimmy Carter, but one bus had an accident, so they sent our bus back, and she was so disappointed. Because I was in the Guard at the time, at Christine Todd Whitman, our governor's inauguration, I was one of the military members there, and she walked past me. We stood up and lined the pathway, and she walked past and never talked to her.
You didn't run over and give her a big hug and kiss?
No. Never saw. I think I saw Jim Florio in person once, who was a governor. I've seen congressmen and senators, but that was no big deal. Oh, the Oak Ridge Boys. When I was a kid, our church used to have a band every Sunday night, a concert every Sunday night. And one of the groups that used to come regularly was the Oak Ridge Boys. And then they went mainstream some years later.
My dad loved the Oak Ridge Boys.
My grandfather liked the woman that played Flo on Alice. She was apparently a country singer. Much like He Came on My Heart. Who was that?
Marjorie something.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh no, that's the
blonde bitch.
Yeah.
Marjorie Beaumont.
Marjorie Beaumont, right. Nobody told Marjorie. Oh, Holly sent the picture. I'm sure you'll all remember this. Oh, Marjorie. There she is. Marjorie Beaumont. He Came on My Heart. Oh, Marjorie, why did no one tell you?
Maybe people did, and she just didn't believe them.
It's possible. Here's what I think about all my Benites. I'll show you a picture. This is about you guys. That's a gift bag for sale in Walmart. I've never been to a concert in my life. I would go to those church concerts, but I have never been to like a stadium to see a concert ever. The only time I've ever been to I was at the arena at UNLV when Eddie Murphy, it followed Raw. It was his next filmed stand-up. And one of the opening acts for him was Paul Moody. That guy was vulgar. Vulgar. And there was another guy. You've probably seen other people do this. You might have seen this guy. This was like 30 years ago, though. He would have like mannequins or big puppets his height, and he had like broomstick attached to his knees and his hands, and it would be attached to the puppet's hands and feet, and they would like dance in sync, it would look like. and he did I know he did Jackson 5 song, and they danced. That was entertaining. Princess Leia's mother and father. I like when these celebrities walk into weddings. Like Tom Hanks. Keanu Reeves was invited to a wedding and he went. Never went to a concert.
I have.
Holly's gone to a lot of concerts. She takes off her bra, waves it in the air. She was going to go to a concert last year, but there's too much walking. I don't blame her. I used to go with my brother-in-law. Well, he's still a professional musician, but when Atlantic City used to have like live music for all the opening acts for like comedians, and I saw I can't remember now, but I know he played in the show band for Bill Cosby back when he was America's dad and loved. Don Rickles, he did a lot of. He said one of the most popular performers that ever came there was Bobby Vinton, the Polish prince. And back then, these acts used to come in Atlantic City for like a week or two, with like Monday night off. And they would start on like Tuesday and run through 2 weeks with Monday off. But Sammy Davis Jr., did a lot of them. Patty's best concert was Toby Keith. I actually knew, turned out to be kind of a dick, but Chadwick Pelletier was his name. He was in the season of Road Rules on MTV where they went to Australia. And he was in a Toby Keith music video. That was it was a really cool video. You Shouldn't Kiss Me Like That, I think it was called. When You Kiss Me Like That. Ronnie says, I want to see Elvis Costello here in July, but they won't weigh too much money. It's crazy.
Oh, well, no.
What was it, like Taylor Swift concert tickets, like $1,000?
It was Taylor Swift for 1,000, but it was also Sabrina Carpenter, and there was somebody else, some other woman. Her tickets were ridiculously expensive, over $1,000.
That's crazy. But, that's how they make money now, because they don't make money. One of the artists with the best deal for like for instance, when they made records and they used to make albums and CDs and cassette tapes, they would make only like, I don't know, like 50 cents or something on them. But Bruce Springsteen had the best deal, which was something like $1.75. And but now with iTunes and all, they make probably less than a penny. However, it's so widely distributed, they still probably bring in millions. Much like I do when I do my live broadcast. Well, folks, I've been on an hour, and I am going to get off here for tonight, but I'll be back tomorrow night. So thanks for hanging with me. See ya. Love you. Bye for now.